All 6 of them.
All 6. Just like a revolver. That's all I could do.
Just like a revolver, says the immortal Jerry Miculek. That's the way you start this edition of the Shooting USA podcast from the NRA's annual meetings. That's a lot in the room. Let me turn that down a little bit. There we go. Jerry, welcome, sir.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasure to see you.
It's good to be here.
Well,
it's all fun.
It is good to be here. We're among the people. There are, I don't know, I think they're estimating like 70,000 people coming through over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of folks
in support of the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Vitally important to everything we do.
Yep, exactly.
And that's another piece. America's Rifle Challenge. The NRA is putting their horsepower behind this very intentional shooting sport. It's essentially practical rifle competition.
Right.
You've looked at it.
I have. Yeah.
It'd be right in your wheelhouse.
I would like, if I had time, I'd probably shoot some of it.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? Time.
Yeah.
That
time.
Valuable commodity.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Talk about over the years how much the shooting sports has brought into your career.
Wow, it's everything. You know, I started. Well, I've been an NRA life member since I can't remember. I want to say the '60s.
Right.
And you
like before you got into shooting.
Yeah.
NRA.
Yeah, definitely. My brother knew a fella. He used to have to be recommended to be a life member.
Is that right? Okay.
If I remember right, I think it was $100.
Okay.
Or $60. That's how long ago it was.
Right.
But anyway, I've been here forever. Good stuff.
It's vitally important.
It is, but definitely.
Well, you and I have worked together on a number of different fronts. You've set some world records certified by the NRA.
Yes, I have.
Shooting some revolvers, following in the footsteps of Ed McGivern.
Right. Yep.
You remember some of those days, the hot days in Mississippi?
I did. It was I think it was 104.
Right.
The camera guys had enough.
I fell out. I mean, admittedly, I literally fell out that day. That's one of those things, though. It's a body of work over the career, and everyone here knows who you are, knows your name. That's significant. There's something that goes with that. There has to be. You're always been so humble. You're just so soft-spoken.
I just have fun.
Yeah.
You know, you meet a lot of. I've always credited most everything I've ever done to the good people I've met along the way.
Yeah.
You know, and you meet the right people at the right time, you get good results.
That's right.
So I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of nice people and set me in the right direction and were willing to help me at the right time. And I'm just one of the cogs in the wheel.
Sure.
So it works out really, really good. Jim Clark Sr. was a big influence, and his son Jim Jr. Probably the most talented shooter I've ever come across.
Yeah.
And so they were big players in my career. So good folks.
Well, and then Kay, your wife,
definitely
she's from that lineage.
Definitely.
And how supportive has she been of this endeavor for you? How important is that?
Well, there again, you meet the right people, good people, and she understands my drive and what I need to get out of it, and she stands back and let me play as hard as I want.
That's, I think, what's been so incredibly entertaining is the soft-spoken, mild-mannered Jerry Miculek is an absolute slayer when he gets his hands on multi-gun equipment, rifle, shotgun, pistol.
Yep.
I mean, pretty much anything you put your mind to, it happens. What is it about it? I mean, is it a vision thing? Is it the size of your thumbs? Tell me what it is.
Well, I started off really at being a very poor shooter.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you'd have seen my first handgun experience, you said, "Why do you even have one of those?"
It wasn't great.
Get rid of it. You don't need to own one. So it was a challenge, and I like to do things fast.
Yeah.
And speed always drives innovation.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things work at slow speed, but when you get going quicker, it complicates things to a level that's really hard to conceive till you get into it.
Yes.
You go like, okay, I can shoot 6 rounds on one target. Can I shoot those same amount of rounds on 6 targets?
Yes.
So I'm simple-minded in a lot of things. I'll go like, well, why do you do that? How can you do this? And there's no one to talk to about it.
Right.
So you go out. It's like an adventure, and you actually create your own adventure.
I like it.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah, I like that very much.
You know, so you say why, and you say why not?
Right.
So I want to know why. Why? What's the limits of this? Why can't I do this?
Well, I mean, you can apply that to speed and competition and the innovations that come from competition, and those get applied to products that companies are making.
Very
and
much
things
so.
like that.
And it directly, I was talking to a gentleman the other day about how much it influences law enforcement and military.
Sure.
All these games that we've played,
100%.
you know, since the 70s, it directly influences training methods. It makes better law enforcement officers and military personnel, makes them more effective on what they need to do at the moment.
Yep.
And, yeah, so it's fun.
It is fun. One of the things, and I've been meaning, this just came to mind. We're talking about innovation in multi-gun, open division shotgun. For all the years, you've always shot that long tube magazine with the long stick loaders.
Yep.
And the thing is long.
17 rounds.
And I remember asking you at one point, because I noticed that Kay had gone to a magazine-fed shotgun. And I said, well, Jerry, when are you going to go to a mag-fed shotgun? Why are you going to keep running around here with that broomstick shotgun situation? And I think you told me something along the lines of when they start working.
Well, they haven't perfected them yet.
Right. So, I mean, you're not going to fix what isn't broken at this point. Your system runs.
It does. It's 100%. It's a little bit slower, but it's 100%. The box guns are so dependent on temperature of the ammunition. Shot shell is not really made to be stacked in a mag.
I see.
And it compresses the front of them, and then they fail to feed. If you had an all brass hull like they made back in the first war for the trenches, maybe you could get away with it. But right now, it's getting closer and closer, unfortunately for me.
It's not yet.
Not yet.
Interesting. Well, what other innovations have you seen that do work? What innovations have you turned to that do work in your competition outfit?
Wow. Well, there's so much with optics.
Yeah.
The quality of the red dots, electronic sights, or whatever you want to refer to them at, has transformed competition shooting. When we first were introduced to it in the early 90s, you had to learn to shoot with the dot off because a lot of times they would quit on you.
Yeah.
You know, they just wear out.
100%.
And they start blinking, so you learn to shoot without a dot.
Yeah.
And now the quality is so good, the battery life is so amazing, it's in years. And it used to be in hours.
Yeah, I know. That reminds me of another Jerryism.
Yeah.
I'll share that Bianchi Cup. I went to the Bianchi Cup, thought I was hot stuff, had a 9mm open pistol with a Seymour on it, and it was my turn to shoot, and that thing was dead. And I panicked, and I think you said something along the lines of, yeah, that thing will kill batteries just being in the bag.
Yeah. It's hard on... That generation it was really...
Yeah, I mean, you leave it on and that battery's dead in an hour and a half.
It would eat it up.
Yeah.
Good quality stuff.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
But the technology of the diodes wasn't there yet.
Right.
And that's some of the evolution, and we take it for granted now. If you get 5-year battery life, you go like, why so short?
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that has been a major innovation, the way those have
And just how rugged they are and how small.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing here is the thermal scopes, how they're evolving.
Yes. And they're becoming affordable.
And they're so rapid. The evolution of the thermal is about like the red dot. You know, it started out like kind of a novelty thing. Eat a battery up.
Yep.
Very expensive.
Yep.
And now they're making them for pistol.
You got it. Amazing.
So
that's the evolution of everything, isn't it?
It is. That's the fun of it. You get to see it and you get to be a part of it and experience it and help drive the industry. And yeah.
Well, it's the same thing in the cameras. I mean, you look at these 10 years ago, the video quality out of that would have been thousands of dollars. That thing's $300. And you guys are intimately familiar with that. You've been creating content on your own for your channels for quite a long time.
Yep.
How important is that to everything you guys are doing?
It's important in the aspect of sharing knowledge.
Sure.
You know, a lot of tips and stuff we got at the show. One thing I really enjoy, people come by and say, man, I really appreciate you doing that cleaning video or this gun tip or.
And that's something.
And then they go out on the range and have fun and they bring friends and they shoot. And so you have to have an audience. You have to have people buying guns.
Right.
And enjoying and just share a little bit. You get a lot more in return.
You bet.
So, in that aspect, I think it's probably I get youngsters coming up to 30 years old. I've been following you since. I went, oh, wait a minute.
That's right.
And I realized I've been doing this for like 40 years.
That's also right.
So it's a good feedback. It makes you feel good. You're bringing more people into the sport.
Yeah.
And they're having fun and they're safe and enjoying firearms and keeping the tradition of firearm usage up. And that's as we get urbanized, it's harder and harder to find a spot to shoot.
Sure.
So when I was a kid, you could just take a .22 rifle and go out in the wood and shoot something. You know.
Yeah.
Now it's changing. So to get people involved into shooting sports, it takes a little bit more incentive.
Yes.
It's a little bit harder to do.
Yes.
So.
Well, you guys have a knack for not only being world champions, setting world records, but you're also entertainers. You're very good at it. Your style it's very uniquely Jerry, and it always has been. It's been a pleasure to watch that evolution throughout my career and throughout the evolution of our show. Your daughter has created her own niche for herself.
Right.
And she has come along in such a way, utilizing, I think, the talent that she gets honest, but also having had the exposure to the industry and the shooting sports since the absolute beginning.
Do you remember John Satterwhite?
I do.
When I first started shooting Steel Challenge in California, John Satterwhite was doing shooting demos, like three a day. I think we were. Anyway, when I wasn't shooting, I'd go watch John do a performance.
Right.
And he'd shoot, and I was watching his style, how he interacted with the audience, and what kept people entertained, and his spontaneity.
Yep.
And I learned a lot from watching John as a shotgun exhibition guy.
Yep.
I was always impressed with exhibition shooting.
Sure.
And I was lucky enough with Smith & Wesson. We did it for a number of years where I'd go around and just shoot, go to different ranges and, shoot like 3 or 4 times a day. And
Yep.
get to meet a lot of people and interact and learn a lot about yourself on how to perform under pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's another level. Competition is one thing, but addressing an audience and then shooting and then talking. And most competitors do not want to be distracted in their competition.
Right.
And I always thought that was a soft spot.
Interesting.
So I never wanted to have a soft spot. Like when Lena was born, I'd be changing the diaper and they called me to go shoot. I got to go shoot.
Got to go to the line.
Got to go. And to have a preparatory period to me is a weakness.
Interesting.
You should know it. You should be able to apply it without having to go through some lengthy brain fog kind of. I call it a weakness. I don't want to have a weakness.
Sure. That whole prep time where you have to be so incredibly focused, otherwise
just do it.
Yeah.
And that's what little Jim Clark was, so good at.
Yep.
He could just go out, just do it. I said, Jim, what you do? He said, I just did it.
Right.
I said, well, explain it to me. He said, well, just do it.
Wait, just shoot it.
Just do it. I'm going, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. And that's interesting because there are a handful of guys like you who are that way, and there are many more who are not that way. And I observe from very close proximity when we're creating our show and so on, and I have tremendous access, and I know who I can talk to, I know who I can interact with, and I know who I need to not try, back up, take a step kind of thing. And that's an interesting thing. I never really realized that it was so top of mind for you, but I think Lena is that way as well, and she typically is doing very well, and whether she's doing well or she's not, she's very present in the moment.
You have to be. I try not to have weak spots.
Yeah.
In just about any aspect of anything. I don't want to have a weak spot.
Smart.
So
when you identify those and work on them and hone it.
Yeah. So the little bit I do in competition, I should be able to address it like talking to you and then turn around and shoot.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So that's what shooting demos actually did for me, with the ability to talk to an audience and then engage and turn around and do something that's kind of, wow, that's pretty cool.
That brings me another memory working on pro tips down on your range.
Yep.
And there was one in particular, it was the first time. We used to try to break them up into little 20, 30-second sections, cut and go to a tight and get a different thing. And there was one where we were talking about grounding a shotgun. Yep. And you just went. You just began. And it was compelling. And so I was like, bro, just roll, and we'll cover it after the fact. We're not going to stop. Just let him go. He's going. And it was, I think the biggest takeaway from it was, I'm going to carefully place my shotgun. I'm going to carefully place my rifle when grounding it because I care about it. I care about the zero. I need that thing to work for the rest of the match.
That's correct.
Versus the guy who comes in and throws it and runs away like
spike it.
Those were those moments, though. Those are those Jerry moments where it's like, you know what? In the simplest terms, this makes so much sense, and you see so many people do exactly what we were talking about.
I know, man. They hate it.
Yeah.
I love my gun.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's a part of me. I don't want to abuse it because I got to pick it out of there and shoot the next stage with it.
Right.
So placing the gun it's like an art form.
Yeah.
How to release it, put the safety in. Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot like a martial art almost. A lot of flow state to it.
It is.
Would you agree? Yeah.
It is, and observing where it's going.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is rake it on the edge of a drum and knock your other optic out, or knock a charging handle loose, or whatever.
Just
So,
being present, being intentional.
yeah.
Makes sense.
I call it being soft but being fast.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know, you don't have to. You don't, if you watch anybody good at anything, it looks very fluid.
Yes.
And it's not jerky.
It doesn't look jerky. It doesn't look
Right.
rushed,
So
forced.
that's
You're not
usually,
muscling it.
That's usually knowing whatever you're going to do to an extent to where you make it look easy.
It's amazing.
Because you're taking out everything that doesn't add to the performance.
Yeah.
And you just do the performance.
Makes sense.
Just like you watch somebody draw out of a holster really good. They're not working hard. Next thing you know, the gun's up. It's on target.
Right.
Because they've taken out everything that doesn't add to that draw.
Yeah.
And they just produce it right under your dominant eye. And
It's fantastic.
But probably yeah.
Let's talk about the most recent world record. Let's talk about the plate rack run.
Yep.
There's pressure there. There had to be because there was a big put on, and there was a lot of people, and there was a lot of production leading up to it.
It was.
And you have a limited number of attempts.
That was a very unique because I hadn't shot revolver in a while.
Yeah.
So to get back into revolver mode, and I had to break it down from very start the visual concept of what I needed to do. I hadn't shot plate racks in a while. American handgunner was nothing but plate racks.
Right.
Every day you had different plate racks.
Right.
But anyway, so I had to start from ground zero to get going on it. And it was interesting in the aspect of my visual game had deteriorated so quick.
Interesting.
So I had to play a lot of visual games to get myself to see where I needed to see.
I see.
And that's one of the things I always wanted to perfect would be a visual training technique to shoot fast. Because the concept is totally different than bullseye shooting.
Agreed. Yeah.
And how to get there in a minimum amount of time and how to perfect it and what to look for when you're under stress. Because stress robs you of vision.
Sure.
The first thing it goes is your vision.
Okay.
So to shoot well on that, I had to start doing these visual games. And so it was fun. It was actually fun to reinvent it again.
Yeah.
And so every time you do something like that, you learn a lot of small, subtle things that add up to a performance. And so it was fun. I had fun doing it.
Yeah.
Had fun doing
Well, I
it,
could tell.
so.
I mean,
I was so prepped for that.
Yeah.
The day before we went out on Corey Boudreau helped me on that project. He was Smith & Wesson revolver guy at the time. He helped me so much on that project. Like the day before, he brought me to a police range, and he had a little plate rack he set up. I made one run. I said, man,
I know it.
I don't have to shoot anymore.
Yeah, I got it.
That was it. And the next morning, I got up and dry fired a little bit. I was ready.
That's amazing.
It was ready.
That's amazing. And it's done. And it has not been replicated, and I don't know if anybody could.
My goal was a 175.
Yeah.
And I never shot a 175 in practice. But I was hoping the adrenaline pump would push me there. So it was a 188. But
Yeah.
it was close.
Out of the holster.
Yeah.
And 6 dead-on shots.
Yep. You had.
And it was 10 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what made it really challenging with 3 runs at it.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, and that was what I thought was so significant about when Max did it was to make it a world record. We're going to limit the number of tries, and it's not easy.
Yep.
But he did it with semi-auto. You did it with wheel gun.
So. Yeah, but it's actually easier.
Well, I mean, tell the Houston police it's easier. They're not listening. Whatever, man. He said it's easier. Get out of here. 181, 10 yards, plate rack, out of the holster.
The gun actually works with you a lot better.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not a dead gun.
Okay, so a lot less reciprocal.
Well, the trigger action is so much. Yeah. It carries you through.
Nice.
Yeah, you just like getting on a horse and riding.
Absolutely.
It was good. Same thing.
It's the best. That's why you're the immortal Jerry Miculek. What's on the horizon? What's next?
Well, I want to do a shotgun.
Okay.
I want to do a shotgun record.
Some of this like Tom Knapp type stuff, hand thrown,
speed shoot, maybe a plate rack, or maybe just 6 rounds. And how many rounds you can shoot in a second?
Okay.
Something like that. Something different. Something with a long gun.
How fast will that dude run?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because shotguns play out pretty quick.
Yeah, sure.
If you're really on them hard, 1200s. Not many shotguns run at 1200ths of a second.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot more movement there that takes time.
It does. So the pulling the trigger is the easy part. The gun has to do the rest. So
the Mossberg will do it, though. I mean, I'm sure.
It's right there.
You race car that thing a little bit.
It's right there at about 1200s, 1100s, and But I think it would be fun to. A shotgun can really make you shoot fast
Yeah.
if you know how to hold it.
Yeah.
So I get out and play with it a little bit, and it kind of gets me excited.
Start getting that gears working and start thinking about this could be a thing, and I don't think anybody else can do it.
Nobody's done it, So it's something new.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. That's one of those things that when you lay in bed, you're thinking, man, this might be.
Wonder if that could happen.
Might be fun, and it's a different venue.
Yeah.
So it's different concept on body positioning and recoil management and what to do with your finger and how to hold the gun, and so it's and all this that I've ever done all became a part because I never really learned how to shoot correctly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Tough sell on that one.
Well, I'll tell you how it all started.
Do.
Okay, Jim Clark Sr., he asked me, he said, how you shoot so fast? And I said, well, I had to learn to shoot before I could flinch.
Okay.
And he started laughing. He's a bullseye guy.
Yeah.
Bullseye. You couldn't make Jim Clark flinch if you lit him on fire.
Right.
And so if I went to a proper training, don't anticipate the recoil, let the shot, the gun recoil.
Press, yeah.
I would have never learned how to shoot fast.
Interesting. Huh.
So
that's another Jerryism.
A totally different concept of shooting. I've always said the only thing same from bullseye to action shooting is the gun goes off.
Right.
That's the only thing similar.
That's right.
Everything else is totally 180.
That's amazing.
So that's why it's really hard for a bullseye guy to ever be an action shooter.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for an action shooter to ever be a bullseye guy.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You can't mix the two because it's so extremely different.
I feel like that, though, may be why bullseye competitors do well in the Bianchi Cup.
They do.
There's some parallel there.
It is very much so.
Yeah. Regimented. It's faster than bullseye, but the accuracy
right.
piece and the regimented time limits and so on.
And the concept you can't miss.
Yeah, exactly. Can't afford to miss.
And then Steel Challenge, Casey Azubio showed us that you can miss fast enough to win.
Yeah.
He brought that in.
Yeah.
So Casey really set the pace for steel.
Yeah.
He is a steel monster.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And if you want to get up on a line with him, you have to learn to miss fast enough to win.
Right.
It's a really broad statement, but if you want to compete in his realm.
Yeah, you got to hang it out there to the point where you don't know. All you know is if it left a mark on the steel.
That statement is totally different than any bullseye training, any law enforcement,
100%.
any military. But it has aspects of if you don't go there, you'll never get to his level.
You got it.
You have to go in his playground and play his game.
I would argue that is likely why there are only the 3 who have ever broken the 80-second mark out of the holster in Steel Challenge.
Yep.
Him, BJ, and Max.
Yep.
And that's it.
BJ, by the way, came to our junior camp when he was just starting.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw him when he came up, and I he was shooting out of the holster, and I gave him a couple of visual clues, and he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, he can see fast, and that's something I think a lot of competitors don't realize is how to see things.
Sure.
And he had a natural ability to see fast, and his hands are quick, and well, you know how good he is.
Yeah, sure.
So after the first few days working with him, I had him demonstrate for the other junior shooters what to do.
How about that?
So he was like sucking it up like a sponge, man. He gave him a little intel and he was gone.
Yeah.
So now he is the metal monster,
That's so good.
Yeah, he really took it in.
It's amazing.
Took it in quick.
Only guy to break 80 with iron sights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fearless too.
Yeah.
That's how you got it. You have to do it. You have to be able to miss fast enough to win. But the vision skills, his vision skills, and he probably doesn't realize what he's doing.
Right.
Because it's so natural what he sees.
Right.
And that really separates the guys, how fast you can see things.
Well, it's kind of a Rob Lathamism where he says, you only need to see an adequate sight picture to get to that speed.
Yeah,
adequate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I used to practice when I first started shooting, was how much I could shake the gun and still hit a target.
Interesting.
Because you get in a match, you get that adrenaline, it's never still.
Right.
So I'd go out and practice, and I'd shake it, try and make a shot and see where it would go. So when I got in a match and I got in that condition, as long as I've seen that before.
Sure.
Because I practiced it before.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Mike Plaxco. I said, Mike, you ever practice missing? He said, why would you reinforce the negative? I said, well, Mike, how many times have you ever missed? And he went, So I used to practice how to miss at the American Hand Gunner.
Okay.
To stay in cycle. What am I going to do next? I make a bad shot. How am I going to recover? And I won it like 3 times with the revolver.
Yeah.
Overall.
Interesting.
So you have to practice. I mean, it's part of the game.
Yeah,
Part
well,
of the game.
practice is part of the game. People, write that on a rock from Jerry Miculek. Jerry, we could do this all day, every day. I wish we could.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it makes me think of a lot of stuff. That's why I liked it when I was doing classes. You know, a guy would ask me something, and I have to dig up to that internal folder. You know,
Sure.
and go, well, I did that in '76.
We start accessing files that we haven't looked at in a while.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, it bring up a lot of memories of good application and bad application and adrenaline. I was just talking to a special forces guy about experiencing stress.
Okay.
You know, like public speaking.
Sure.
That's a stress.
It is. It can be.
And you have to learn it.
Yeah,
You
sure.
have to learn it.
Sure.
Exhibition shooting, that's a stress. It's different. You got to talk to people, then you have to turn around. You have to execute. Competition shooting is a different level of stress, and aspect you need to perform on command. So there's a practice run and there's a match run,
Right.
and all that commands time and energy, and they're willing to go out and experience it. And the only way to experience it is to fail.
Okay.
You will fail.
Well, yeah, you have
So,
to be ready
yeah,
to accept that.
So your ego has to be there.
There it is.
So if your ego is bigger than your experience, your experience will never grow.
Perfect. I don't know how else to end it.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
That's it, brother.
Your ego must never be bigger than your experience.
Right.
Write that on a rock. Thank you, Jerry. That's amazing.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, sir. That's so good.